We're not here to complain about that episode.
Except for I haven't been recording at all. So it was on. It's just, yeah.
Maybe you're not here to complain about that episode.
This is the first edition of Rewind. Welcome back. We didn't watch the episode again. We're just going to complain about it.
We just picked a random episode from our library.
And for the fourth week in a row, we're complaining about Blues Boy.
Fucking Blues Boy. Just a whole show. Just weeks after weeks of a show. That's just about this one episode of Baywatch Nights.
Well, that was the joke in Beef and Dairy Network with the Jumanjania. They have a podcast where they only review watching Jumanji every week.
Well, there's a few podcasts that just do one movie over and over again. And I think one does 1 minute of the movie every week. And then just talks about that 1 minute for an hour.
Fuck.
You gotta talk about 1 minute of Baywatch Nights for an hour.
How will you ever get to Nightman?
True. We have so much. As important as this may be, we have so much other things.
When we get to one of those shows, it only has 6 episodes. That's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, that's
we're gonna have to Baywatch Nights it out for a minute. You're gonna have to play a lot of saxophone interludes.
Well, I suppose the question is at that point, do we talk about that show, or do we just go all the way back to Baywatch Nights?
And then we just stop and complain about Blues Boy. It's the circle of life. Anyway.
Yeah.
This one, Night Whispers, the long-awaited vampire episode.
Yeah, buddy. I knew it was coming.
I feel like it delivered. It was a fun episode.
I agree. Saying that right at the gate.
Yeah.
And you can tell because of the German title.
Yeah. Vampire Whisper is the German title.
Yeah.
I actually had to use the umlaut in the translate.
Yeah. Well, the annoying thing is that there's books like it keeps on coming over like a specific book.
Yeah,
it's like it's like no.
Maybe it's the novelization of the Baywatch Nights episode.
That would be funny.
Yeah, excellent. Anyway, we open on just
that one and Blues Boy.
the two that they made.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we open on this lady. She's wearing like this really long black nightgown. It took me a minute to identify it as a nightgown. I was like, is that a weird dress or is it a nightgown? Because it's so long.
Yeah. And she's just chilling in her.
Yeah, she's apartment. She loads up her CD, pours a drink. Looks like she's gonna eat a rose for a minute.
Yeah.
She kisses this rose, but she like open mouth kisses it.
Yeah, she
just puts the tongue right down it.
Well, she like basically bites it. It's.
I 100% thought she was gonna eat that rose.
I thought it did. No, I agree. It's like she kisses it, and then I get the impression that I think she's gonna bite it, but she doesn't. Yeah, she's basically just she's doing like a sexy music video all by herself.
Yeah, it looks like she's doing like another video for Meatloaf. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a Bat Out of Hell music video is what this is. She
does the bit where she drags her finger along furniture. And
and she puts on her hooded cloak over her nightgown. Yeah. She's got like a cape that she puts on over it.
Yep.
Which is 100% a Meatloaf music video situation.
Yeah, again, you can. It almost feels like that they just took clips from a Meatloaf music video.
Yeah,
and just
then there's a motorcycle. No, instead of that, she hears with her super. Well, immediately they're pretty much cat's out of the bag.
She's got a cape. She's the Dracula.
Yeah,
we know this already.
Yeah, they're not playing this one coy, and she uses her super Dracula hearing to hear Griff and Angie arguing while they're jogging. It's like the middle of the night.
Doing some night jogs.
Yep. And Angie's like, she's done with it.
Yeah, she's completely out.
Yeah, she's tapping out. Griff's like, oh, come on, you can do it. And Angie's like, no, I can't. You're fucking wrong. And this other dude passes him. Straight up, on
your left.
Captain America is their Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Griff's like, see, he can do it. He can do it too. She's like, nope, he's better than me.
He's like, no, you're wrong.
And so then immediately this Dracula chick, she just jumps off her balcony, like swoops down, and I think this effect.
You get some weird Dracula vision.
Yeah, this effect is used so much we have to come up with a name for it.
Yeah,
because we just keep trying to describe it the same way every time.
You're right. They've done it at least 3 times, probably more.
No, they've done it like most of the episodes have it at least once.
Yeah, because I remember the Ooze had it.
Yeah.
This one.
I can't remember if the Ajogan did it.
I don't believe the Ajogan did. The Ajogan had the what in my head was the Ajogan chase cam,
like
where it followed the Ajogan, but this is from the monster's perspective.
But I mean, even so, it's the same effect, even when it's not the.
Oh, you're talking about the weird slow-mo-ish,
yeah,
slow-mo thing. There's that too.
Because that's used not from her perspective later too, and we just need a name for that camera.
We need a name for the weird slow-mo effect.
Spooky vision.
Creepers
Peepers.
I kind of like the Creepers Peepers.
No, that's good. That's solid. I was gonna say,
come, Mr. Peepers.
So yeah, we get full on Creepers Peepers as she sweeps town, and Angie and Griff, they hear like this. It's just like. It's a death rattle is what they hear.
Yeah. So the dude, as mentioned, the dude goes ahead of them, and then shortly after, Angie and Griff follow. So the weird implication is that she might have attacked them if they had chosen to keep running.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought.
But no,
she's totally justified now. See, if we had been running, I would have been eaten.
Yeah, vampires love running people.
But
no, she attacks on running people. Never mind. She does attack a lot of running people.
It's true. Well, to be fair, it's people run and then she attacks them.
Yeah.
But he is the weirdest vampire rule of all.
She has a thing for fast food.
But yeah, it kind of makes it really does make you wonder immediately where whether she would have attacked Angie and Griff if they had kept running.
Yeah, but she didn't.
But she didn't. She went after this guy.
Yeah,
she went after this guy.
And this guy is kind of a dollar store Steve Rogers.
Yeah, it's true. He did not get. He didn't get the super serum, and he's not that cool.
No,
he just kind of fit.
He lost all his blood.
Yeah.
So it's a weird vampire situation because you can see immediately it's not like your typical there's bite marks. There's like a slash across his chest. That's like the thing you see.
Yeah, and it's not 100% clear at this point in the episode. He just sort of has bloody shirt, and there's blood on his neck.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of blood,
but it's mostly just you see just a slash on his shirt. So yeah, they find the dude who's been vampired.
Yeah. I literally used vampired as a verb.
Of course you did. Same person. They find the dude who's been vampired, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta, call people." And then as soon as they call people, immediately shifts to a few hours later, and what is it? It's a crime scene. Like the dude's in a body bag. And, yeah.
The exact phrasing I used in my notes was "vampires the shit out of him."
I mean, no, it's accurate.
So the funny thing to me is how long, like the way the cops handle the witnesses in the situation is bonkers. Yeah. So they call middle of the night. Cops show up, bagging him up and talking to him in broad daylight. So they've been there for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
At the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
Then they say, okay, there's a suspect that was seen leaving their building across the street at around the same time. So we want to go talk to him. So we want to bring you guys along to check out this witness. Check out the witness to see if you can identify him.
Yeah, that's definitely the
and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's the wild part.
I thought 100% at this point that the whole plot was going to be she's hunting them down now But instead, Griff's like, no, I have a thing to do. I have a photo shoot to do. So I'm going to leave Angie. Angie's like, I can handle this. I can go check out to see if it's the person we did not see at all.
Yeah. Because that's important to keep in mind. They saw nothing of the vampire attack. They just sort of heard a whooshing sound, and then they ran a little bit, and then they found the dude. Corpse.
Well, maybe if she's like, "Can you walk back and forth? Do I hear a whooshing sound?"
Oh man. So they go across the street, and this chick. So her name's Francesca. This chick, first scene, she dials it back a little bit later. But this first scene, she is hamming it up. She is like full on like cartoon Dracula voicing this shit.
No, it's true.
And she's like, the gloves are very important to Angie later.
Yeah,
she's wearing gloves.
It's weird that's an important detail.
Yeah,
it is. But
got her sunglasses on. It's like, she's like, oh, the sun bothers me. That's why I went out at night. I like to get out. But
for a vampire who's trying not to look like the vampire, they're doing everything possible to make them seem like a vampire.
Yeah,
is the thing.
Yeah, and the cop runs a background check on her over the phone, because that was how you had to do it back in the day. Yeah. And he's like, oh, and what about the blood on the nightgown in the bathroom? He's like, oh, I cut myself.
It's ketchup.
I cut myself with ketchup. So the cops finds out it's gonna take a while because she has a foreign identification, so it has to go through other shit. And so he's like, all right, well, we're gonna bring you down to the station, figure this shit out. It shouldn't take too long. And then she's like, okay, and she asks him for help on putting her meatloaf cape on.
Yeah. He has him help put on her coat or her cape or whatever.
Yeah.
And
so this scene, this fucking scene, right away, this is just full on goof whack balls. Because then Angie sees, first of all, I don't know why this lady has one, but Angie sees in this vampire lady's mirror in her hallway that the cop is reflected, but of course the lady is not.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, dun dun dun.
Yeah. Well, she keeps on. Angie is the only one who's picking up on the hints that she's a vampire. Yeah. It's the funny thing. So she's like,
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Yeah. 1, 2.
It is almost like, it is basically like that.
They should. Even though I like this episode a lot, 100% better if it's just the count.
I mean, most vampires are. Not only is Count the best version of a Dracula, because he's less of an asshole.
The two good
it's
versions.
Also funny.
The two good versions are the Count and Gary Oldman. And what I would really want is Gary Oldman as the Count.
But yeah, so
I've crossed oceans of time to give you this 11.
So that is the subtly funny bit about this scene in general. Is because it's Angie's looking like am I fucking crazy or is this lady a vampire?
Yeah.
That's what her face says the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks in the mirror and is like, oh yeah, she's got no fucking reflection.
Yeah. And then we get the intro. Fucking intro.
Yeah. Another sign that it's a relatively good that's going to be a good episode.
Yeah.
Because the intro's only 4 minutes in.
It was still actually pretty long in. It's 7 minutes in.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's just not 12 minutes in.
Yeah, that's right. I suppose.
At this point, a 7-minute cold open is brief to us. That's where we are.
A 7-minute cold open feels like 4.
Yeah, it didn't have an intermission. It was shorter than a Mariners playoff baseball. So then, back at night, Angie is, she calls Baywatch up to find out where Hoff is. So Numi gets name dropped, but no actual appearance.
Yeah.
And Hoff's off fixing a boat. So she goes off to the docks.
Not sure why this is his job, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like it's not like even professional. It just looks like he might be fixing a boat.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing it to do it. I don't know why.
I don't know either. And he's like, she hate when you're fixing something and you put it back together and there's like an extra piece. And Angie's like, have you heard about that murder? I'm pretty sure it's a vampire. But she does it in a really funny way.
She does do it.
She's like, first she's like, okay, I gotta tell you something. It's gonna sound crazy, but like, this is just what it found. Okay.
This is gonna sound weird.
Yeah, gloves.
We've never encountered gloves.
She leads with gloves.
She does lead with,
and then she goes, "Wait, no."
Yeah, she's trying to explain all this stuff while Hoff is he like working on the boat at the same time?
Yeah.
So she's trying to explain the stuff while Hoff is working on the boat at the same time. So he's half distracted. So he doesn't really notice that she's pacing back and forth on the dock while she's doing all this stuff, trying to find a way to parse this information that doesn't make her sound crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy in and of itself because they fought a slime monster like a couple weeks ago.
I know.
But anyway.
Yeah, the demon, all the bullshit, and they're like, no, this vampire shit's just a bridge too far. Gloves.
Yeah, that is the funniest part. Is the weird thing that sticks out to her is gloves. Because anybody who wears gloves is a fucking Dracula.
Well, because she talks about gloves in L.A. in August.
Because it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she mentions the gloves first off. Then she goes, no, let me start again. I can't remember what the second thing was. I didn't think to write it down.
I don't remember it either.
But she keeps trying, and then she finally goes, vampire. It's vampire.
She mentioned that she didn't have a reflection, and then that basically goes right into she's a fucking vampire.
And then Hoff's like, what do you mean? No, there's no way it's a vampire.
Of course, Hoff is still the doubting Thomas.
And then she's like, no, like it severed his pulmonary artery, which is where the richest oxygen. I'm like, wait, she got through like the ribs and stuff to get there.
I at this point in time when they say that too, I was like, the isn't that like right by the heart? At this point in time, I'm still wondering.
It's a pulmonary vein, but I mean, they're next to each other.
Yeah, I was still wondering if because at this point in time, it's not 100% clear to the viewer that she didn't do the neck bite thing.
Yeah,
you saw a scratch on the cheek, and there was blood on the neck. So I was like, maybe they meant one of the neck arteries, but no, they talk about the pulmonary.
Yeah,
and I'm like, did they just get that wrong, or am I looking at it wrong?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing at first. And I'm like, wait. And I was like, but they did have the chest, so did that go through ribs and everything too, and sternum, like?
Yeah, I mean, those were the two things. It's like, did they get it wrong, or I kind of figured the claw was just like the vampire claw to the chest.
Just like knock them down.
Yeah, knock them down and then
Yeah. No, that was a hole so she could take the swizzle stick.
She's got a crazy straw. She's got the Capri Sun straw. You gotta stick it in there. It's like it's like the adrenaline shot in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You gotta make the magic marker swipe and then.
But yeah, so
and that's the sound they heard. That's when you pop that open.
Yeah, there you go.
And then she circles back to the gloves again in her argument. And Hoff's like, no, this is bullshit. It's completely acting like they haven't been fighting a jug in the slime monsters past 3 months. So then Angie's like, okay, just follow me. And takes Hoff to her car where she has her pile of vampire books, including a pop-up book.
Yeah, that was the funniest shit when Hoff pulled up the pop-up book.
So like when she starts listing off like vampire lore shit from her stack of her monster manuals that she keeps.
Yeah.
But he just picks up the pop-up book. She never references the pop-up book.
No.
He looks at the pop-up book. He's listening to her. Then he just folds it up and puts it down.
Yeah, he like toys with it for a minute. He's like, poke.
Yeah, he does a little slide thing. Spins the wheel.
The thing, and it's not 100% clear what the pop-up book is. It could just be a random pop-up book that she has, or it could be a vampire-related pop-up book. Either version is.
I would have liked it if the house was like the cabin.
Yeah,
I think that's just her random monster one, and it also has an Ajogan. And...
It could be that's the funnier option, I think. But it also is funny that she specifically got a vampire pop-up book for information on vampires.
She's got the horror pop-up book of the month club
Yeah.
subscription.
So, she mentions that she looked up this lady, like her first credit card she got in like 1954 or something. And she's like, you gotta be 18 to get a credit card. And I was like, okay, so she's like 60. She's like, yeah, but she looks like she's not over 24 years old. Bringing up a bunch of other stuff about like a lack of birth certificate.
Yeah, she like has no documentation.
Yeah,
she doesn't.
And Hoff's like, so she's a foreigner who became a citizen. He's just missing everything. And so they go back to Hoff's place so he can clean up before they go to the see this detective that's in charge of the case. And so as he goes to take a shower, Angie finds some blood like on the sweatshirt she was wearing that she had tied around her waist because it's now daytime. And she does something almost unforgivable. She calls Teague over. Yeah. Hoff was very put off with this when he comes downstairs. He's like, what the fuck's Teague doing here?
No, Hoff has the correct reaction to this.
Yeah. And so Angie has like called him over, and also I don't know, I didn't see him bring it in, but there's the microscope.
Yeah, he just always has a microscope.
Yeah.
Well, I think either Teague or Angie has the ability to produce a microscope at will.
Yeah, they have a pocket dimension full of microscopes and other bullshit like that. Later, there's like a centrifuge in the Knight's office.
Yeah, that's true, isn't there? Yeah. I do remember. I remember that now. Yeah.
Anyway, so Angie poked your finger and put some blood on the slide. Shows Teague. He's like, look at this. He's like, yeah, it's blood.
He's like, yep, that's blood.
Yep, it's your blood. I just saw you do that. This isn't a mystery. She's like, yeah, and it's coagulating. He's like, yeah, blood coagulates starts to coagulate as soon as it hits air. And it's like, okay, now look at this one. And it's a slide with the blood she got from her sweatshirt. And it's not coagulating at all. And then...
Which was the dude's blood, by the way. If that's not clear.
And they mention how vampire bats use anticoagulants when they drink blood. And...
Because they'd rather drink blood than
eat it.
Eat it like pudding.
Yeah. Then because they're not English.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure there's English vampire bats.
I mean, I don't know about that.
And Hoff is basically like, vampires are dumb.
Yeah. Vampires are dumb, and so are you, T. Get out of my fucking house.
Angie's trying to explain how this guy was just all out of blood. He just, all his blood was gone. And
it's like a large Russian man punched right out of him.
Yep. And how pale he was and everything. And so he's like, Hoff's like, no, it's bullshit. Teague's listening. She's like, all right, Teague, we're going down to the station. You want to come with us? And he's like, fuck no. We've hit the Teague quotient on this episode.
Yeah, that is the funny part of this particular thing. Where there's like, yeah, here's all this Teague stuff that you'd be interested in, Teague. And he's like, no.
And then Hoff's like, aren't you interested in all the supernatural stuff? And he's like, I am. And then we don't see Teague for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, that is the best thing about it. He's like, I'm interested in this stuff. I'm not going to go look at this stuff.
Yeah, I thought and again, it's like I kept thinking there was going to be a different thing. I thought, oh, Teague's going to just show up fucking Van Helsing.
That's what I was thinking as
well.
I was assuming that he's like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go back to my lair and get my vampire killing.
Yeah,
and then show up at the last minute with the holy water on this bitch.
I had to get my From Dusk Till Dawn trunk with the holy water, the super soakers, and the
yeah. That's by the way, that's what should have happened.
Yeah.
That is a way to make this episode better. And Teague better.
Yeah.
Well.
It's like I just want him to do something useful.
Yeah. Again, the most useful version of Teague so far has been Imaginary Ghost Teague.
It's true. So at the police station, this is already a funny setup. So they're closing the police station.
Yeah, they're moving to some different location.
Yeah, they're like consolidating stations. And this cop is my favorite nobody cop since the Big Lebowski cop at the impound lot.
He's pretty funny.
So first of all, he's carrying...
They have us working in shifts.
He's carrying a file box with a very conspicuous, 8.5 by 11 size envelope sticking out the top that just says handgun. I really like that envelope. Just big block black letters.
Yeah.
It looks like the old generic food things. And then he's saying how they're like, you can't go and we're closing everything down. On Hoffenander's like, oh, we're going to meet this detective so and so, and
we want to see this. We want to see this witness or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever she's considered.
Yeah, and he's like, nah, this fucking. He's like, the messed up thing is this should have been done months ago, but these muckety mucks downtown.
he really likes the term muckety.
Yeah, he uses muckety mucks at least twice.
I mean, and from the sound of the situation, he has right to be upset because they just seem to be fucking over their operation real good.
Yeah, so the cops are moving their own stuff manually, and they're also boarding up the front door of the police station.
Yeah.
So
and a bunch of different exits as well.
Yeah,
not just the front exit, but also all the side exits. And
they specifically mentioned I have to use the side exit to get out. This one side exit to get out.
There's one other exit.
Because they're like, fuck fire codes. We're nailing everything closed.
Yeah, I don't...
While people are still inside.
Yeah, it really doesn't...
And they're doing police work inside.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like, oh, we're taking down the fucking postcards and shit. Moving the pencil sharpeners. No. It's like there's people fucking being booked and shit inside. And they're nailing up fucking doors.
Yeah, it makes so little sense. So, I mean, this cop has every right to be fucking upset.
Yeah, these fucking muckety mucks are
they are literally muckety it up.
Yeah, they really are.
Not only is it very poorly timed and organized, it's also just really poorly executed. Everything about this is bad.
It really
it's
is.
think about the worst way to move locations of any sort of work environment, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't even have all the envelopes with handguns, just one envelope with handgun.
Yeah.
It's looking a mess at the new station.
Yeah.
And so Hoff and Angie get inside, they go up the stairs. Angie's got to take a leak because she says, these vitamins and stuff she's on. Got to piss all the time. So Hoff's waiting for her outside. And then Francesca, sneaks up on him, right behind him. Looks like she's gonna totally fucking bite his neck. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. Notices her at the last minute.
Yeah. And then, this is some real shitty dialogue here.
Yeah, it's real shitty dialogue.
It almost sounds like they're having completely different conversations.
Yes, that is the impression that I got as well.
But it's
Tuesday. Did you bring your coat?
But it's this conversation, the words don't matter. It's entirely subtext.
Yeah, that is 100%.
And that subtext is just bone zone.
Yeah, basically. It's a combination of bone zone and suspicion.
Yeah,
which is the best combination.
They basically should have just been quoting the lyrics to "I Want to Sex You Up" back and forth.
Mm-hmm. What is it? What's I'm trying to think of well, actually no, yeah. I Want to Sex You Up with the soundtrack of The Thing playing alongside of it.
So some I Want to Sex You Up by John Carpenter?
Yeah, you got it. Precisely.
But since it's two separate conversations, it's I want to sex you up over here and let's talk about sex over here.
Yeah. Also The Thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's because keep in mind, Hoff has no idea who this lady is. She's just a mysterious lady who just crept up on him and started giving him the fuck me eyes.
And also the fuck you mouth.
Yeah, also that. But yeah, and then she just leaves.
Yeah, and she just disappears. She literally disappears in the hallway.
Yeah, like Hoff turns around and then she just poofs.
Yeah. And so Hoff and Angie get to the detective's desk, and he's like trying to like finish processing these two hookers. He just needs them.
We don't know they're hookers, but they're definitely hookers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Angie tries to like she tries to just like talk her way in to talk to Francesca. And she's just fucking shitting her diplomacy checks here.
No, she doesn't make a good argument.
She basically just goes, "I'd like to talk to her because raisins."
Yeah, she basically gives no argument to talk to this suspect who's in a jail cell.
Yeah, and then Hoff like jumps in, uses his aid in another act, and barely gets him over that DC threshold.
Yeah. He's got his friends in low places.
Yeah,
and friends in high places.
Yeah, turns on his Hoff charm, and the guy's like, I guess.
I think the guy even knows that he's a lifeguard when he walks in.
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, a lifeguard." What?
I think he just calls him lifeguard.
Yeah.
So they get down to the holding cell.
Oh, the hookers have a sleazy lawyer. By the way.
Yeah, they have a lawyer who shows up, and so again they have her down in a holding cell while they're like boarding up this place.
Yeah, again, keep in mind they're trying to close this at the same time that they're trying to do all this other stuff, so it really makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, you can tell they're just really stretching to make this premise happen.
When I first saw them, them boarding up the thing, I was under the initial impression that this was some sort of vampire plot, where she was basically manipulating them to leave the building so that she could have her own personal hunting ground. But no, that's not the situation at all. They're just really shitty at bureaucracy. It turns out.
So they go down to the holding cell area, and the guard, he got vampired. Yeah, he's in the cell that she's supposed to be in. She's gone because we saw her earlier. She's not in that cell no more.
Yeah,
and so we get
who goes to check on him again?
Well, they both were down there, found him. And they go up.
Yeah.
Then it goes to commercial, and they cut back, and they're at they're at the detective's desk. And so they say what happens. The detective is like, "All right, Hoff, you got to get these people out of here. You got to go down to that one fucking mysterious exit that we mentioned."
Oh yeah, the second victim, by the way, is much more obvious. That big chest right across the heart.
Yeah. They do the thing where he's like sitting with his back against the cell door, and they touch him, and he like flops over.
Yeah.
Like,
so cross my heart, hope to die.
And then, so he's like, "Okay, you guys got to go down, get into that side exit, get out there, get back up."
Yeah.
And Angie's like, "You have a phone right there. Why don't you call for backup?" He's like, "The phone's dead. I can get calls, but I can't make calls." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Yeah. Again. The worst
muckety mucks.
They fucked this up real good.
Yeah. So
it's what happens when you put vampires in government.
And
they just pull all the resources away from the cops so that they can.
Well, again, see, that was what I was thinking. Honestly, at this point, around this point, at this point, actually, I think I'd abandoned that. Like, no, that's definitely not what's happening. But when I first saw this situation, I was like, is this some sort of vampire plot where she's hypnotized people to make this happen so that she has a perfect hunting ground, or are there other vampires that are pulling strings to make this work? But
so this detective, he's like, fucking cocking his gun and everything. He's like, Angie's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I'm gonna go find my suspect." And she's like, "You can't do that." He's like, "No, what the fuck are you talking about?" And then Angie's like,
"She's a vampire."
And then he's like, "I don't fucking have time for this. Get these assholes out of here." And so he goes down.
And just to be clear, in this closing police station, there's like nobody. It's basically this one detective who's going to check, and the one guy who was in the cell who's already dead.
There's another police officer chick.
Yeah, there's a police officer chick who's gonna go along with them.
Hoff is in charge of leading them out.
So they're bringing the emergency vampire food supply.
But the police officer is also there, and she does not know how to get out of the police station.
Yeah. She says, "I work here, and I don't know how." She at some point, "I work here, and I don't know how to get out." Yeah. This place is also a fucking labyrinth. You find out very shortly. So basically everybody's...
They don't have prison cells. They just put them in the back of the police station.
If you can get past our monitor. We had Teague bring one in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically it's the group of Hoff, Angie,
two hookers, a lawyer,
a lawyer, and a rookie police officer. I got the impression that she was new.
I have no idea.
But there's nothing really saying.
There's no indication one way or the other.
Other than she doesn't know the way out.
She doesn't know the building at all.
That's the only reason. I think that's the reason why I assumed.
Because it's literally the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Other than her just wandering around until she finds an exit.
Other than that, or she's just another prostitute that just put on a police uniform.
Or that this is an Eldritch police station, and the it shifts when you're not looking, so the hallways move and the exits move.
Oh, that or she's just a Miko.
Or that.
It's a police station out of space. The police.
So the only person who knows how the way out, which is the detective guy.
He might know the way out. We don't even know.
It's true. He probably knows the way out because he's
not boarded up.
He specifically directs them to leave via that exit. So he knows about it at the very least, and he should know where it is because he knows about it. But then he goes off to his death.
Yeah, he goes down to the holding cell area with his flashlight and his gun. And then Hoff finally gets the idea that he should ask Angie at this time when they're leading the group, like, oh, so what did Francesca look like, by the way? And she describes her.
He also didn't mention the weird encounter.
And then Hoff's like, oh, I think I saw her in the hallway before.
Yeah.
And then we get the detective finding the dead guard down there. And he's like, where's all his blood? And then he fucking gets vampired.
She shows up. She walks up behind him in the weird jail cell hallway that they have in Vampires Are Real Good.
Yeah. And so Hoff hears the yell and runs back in.
Get another, what is it? What was the...
Creepers Peepers?
Creepers Peepers? Yeah, a little short one.
We get a little one. Yeah. We get way more extended Creepers Peepers later.
Yeah.
So he runs back in. He finds Francesca drinking the blood. And his response is like, hey. And then she just straight tiger uppercuts his ass.
It's true, yeah. and by the way, in this one, you can see that she's like literally like basically like right over the chest.
Yeah.
Drinking
chugging. Blood. Yep. And then she starts chasing after him. With some real good Creepers Peepers time. Mm-hmm. And when she does it, oh, it's great now. Now they've resorted to her just like spreading her cape and going, ah!
Yeah. That's her go-to move.
And then they do shaky Creepers Peepers at her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just how the Creeper Peeper vision happens, is you have to have your cape and just go like this.
At this point, I had to pause the video and laugh really hard.
I mean, that's not where I laugh super hard, but yeah.
I'm like, this is where we are. And I'm like, we have so much time left.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Hoff being chased through an abandoned police station by a vampire, which I'm pretty sure was the first thing they wrote for this episode. And then they worked everything else around.
I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. That does make sense.
Did it have like yakety sax playing? And...
No,
only in my head.
But here comes another part where I had to pause and laugh really hard. So Hoff falls down the stairs.
Yeah.
He just tumbles, just ass over tea kettle down this flight of stairs. He lands. He acts like he has a broken back for a second. He's just laying there, like leaning up against his wall.
I mean, it looked like it would hurt.
Panting. You know, he's obviously in pain,
Hoff
but he's
did his own stuff.
not even moving. Like he looks like he just broke his back, and he's completely immobile. Is what he looks like for a minute. And then Francesca shows up at the top of the stairs
With her fog machine.
her fog machine. She does her little Batman smoke bomb. And then she tells Hoff how fascinating he is and how each time he continues to impress and amaze her right after he fell down the stairs.
He just ate some shit down some stairs. That's what gets her going.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how he can curl in the fetal position.
Yeah,
It's great how he can tumble downstairs and not die immediately.
I also happened to pause at a funny moment because she's like, it impresses and amazes her. She goes, it amazes me how quickly you come.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I resumed, and she's like, into hopeless situation. Okay. But yeah, she's impressed by Hoff's ability to fall down the stairs and live, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And Hoff's like, what are you? What do you want? And she's basically like, I haven't known for 400 years, but I just found out today it's Hoff Dick, is basically what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And then poof, she just disappears again.
Yeah.
She does it with the cape this time. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
She's really playing with that cape.
I mean, she likes her cape.
Is he still being a Downey Thomas at this point? It's like,
Yeah.
like wow, what a theater major.
No, he's gonna believe in vampires now, but like, you know, boogeymen and whatever else bullshit next week that shit doesn't exist.
Yeah. He'll believe in vampires now, but he won't believe in werewolves next week.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. He's like a Jogans, vampires, slimes.
Ghosts.
But no chupacabras.
Ghosts,
Okay.
demons.
Yeah.
I do believe in chupacabra, just not the chupacabra.
I mean, the chupacabra is only like $7 at Taco Bell.
Oh, but it's worth it if you get a size of Loch Ness Quick Monster.
Oh boy. Anyway,
so Angie and the cop and the lawyer and the hookers, they're completely lost. Even the cop.
which also sounds like a setup.
It does. It really does. And I think that's the other part that they wrote next.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for some mysterious reason, the hookers are like, I have no idea which way to go, but it's not the way you guys want to go. We're going the other way.
Yeah, they're being the standard cantankerous characters in any sort of group survival situation.
Yeah.
Where they just don't agree with whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
For no good reason. Sometimes
We're gonna die over here.
Yeah.
And so, immediately, Francesca shows up and Creepers Peepers at him.
Yeah.
But she doesn't, get him. She's just, spooking him.
Again, this place continues to be a fucking labyrinth because, what is it? Group A goes one way, and Group B, being the hookers, go into what is sort of a weird parking garage-esque place. And
It's got a freight elevator.
yeah, I know. It makes
This building is not that big.
it's as I said, this place is a fucking labyrinth.
No.
Because nobody knows the way out. Nobody
Yeah.
knows how to figure out a way out.
Yeah.
It looks bigger on the inside than
Yeah.
it is on the out.
Yeah, it's the non-Euclidean police precinct inside the TARDIS building.
Yeah. And so yeah,
They step back outside, and it's just a giant phone. Police phone.
and I say parking garage, but that's not even that's not
No,
even
it's like
right.
a warehouse.
It's more like a warehouse that's been converted into a parking garage, but not a good one. Because she's just like hanging out on top of some beams, watching these hookers go by, and then she jumps after them. She goes like, "Hey!" I think she says something for him like, "Hey, girls," and then goes
And
after
they,
them. and then does Creepers Peepers after.
yeah.
It's and then so chased by a van.
Yeah, and so they get chased into like an elevator.
Yeah.
And then this is also they show the other group meets up with Hoff, and
because that is the funny thing, as mentioned previously, Hoff like disengages from the group, like constantly.
He always knows where to find them, but they don't know where to find an exit.
Yeah, because like the first thing that happens is like when they start leaving, Hoff is like, oh, I gotta go back and I gotta go back and get chased by a vampire, and then he goes back and finds and he finds the group again. Like, oh, I gotta go find the hookers now because they separated from the group.
Do you think it's Hoff's literal poon hounds that he's just sniffing them out?
That makes the most sense. I didn't think about it at that time, but that makes sense. Yeah.
So
he can sense a skirt from 200 miles.
Yeah. Keep moving, man. So the lawyer in this little interstitial between the hookers getting vampired, the lawyer is like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing, but he's not splitting up or anything. He's just saying that they're all dumb.
And generally not being helpful.
Yeah. So one of the hookers gets vampired in an elevator. The other one's there, but she doesn't get vampired.
Yeah.
She just has to watch.
They do a thing. They get to an elevator. They go to a different floor, and vampire just waiting for them at the other floor. And vampire's one lady, and the other one just has to watch. Yeah, which is actually kind of messed up when you think about it. Yeah.
So they all meet back up, and then literally every other asshole in the group, but Angie and Hoff, proceed to just act terribly at each other, in the actual TV show sense of acting. And Hoff and Angie almost look on horrified at the quality of this acting. Because they basically explain that the other hooker didn't get vampired to let the group know that Francesca just wants the Hoff.
Yeah.
And either she gets the Hoff or she kills everyone else and gets the Hoff. That's the
ultimatum she's
giving them. And so they're just arguing with each other in bad horror movie style.
Of course, lawyer guy and hooker both say, "Fuck you, Hoff. Go to vampire lady." Meanwhile, Angie and police officers are like, "No, that's a bad idea."
So then, as they're arguing, they hear water, like running water. And so I thought, oh, okay, this is gonna be a thing where you set up the running water, right?
Right. That's a vampire weakness.
Yeah. And instead they're like, oh, running water means a tunnel. Okay, sure, not just a pipe. And so they open a grate, and then just a bunch of rats fall out. And they're like, all right, I guess that's what's going on. They just leave.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like 6 rats fall out. And they're like, oh, we have to leave this room now. We can't be in here with rats.
It's just a rat leak. A rat pipe.
Kind of trouble. Rat leak.
And it's not even like...
You have rats instead of water.
Get the rat valve.
You turn the right handle for normal rats and the left for plague rats.
There's a valve for hot water, cold water, and rats.
So
you have to let it go for a little bit to get the living ones.
they bunch up over winter.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta, get the little clog of the Rat King in there. You just gotta throw some Drano on him. So,
if you don't put the little styrofoam thing over the faucet,
yeah.
you're gonna get your frozen rats in winter.
Yeah. So, they get away from there, and then Hoff's like, all right. They freak out over the rats. Francesca hears them freak out over that. So she's like, oh, I know where you are. And so Hoff's like, all right, I don't believe in this vampire stuff, but what does your vampire page say in your monster manual, Angie?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, we got any holy water? Wood stakes.
Stake to the heart.
Then, the cops, silver bullets. They're like, no, that's werewolves.
Yeah, the hooker even chimes in like, no, that's werewolves.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny at that time. She's the last person you think.
Yeah. It is funny, especially since she didn't know earlier that women could be vampires.
Yeah, that's right. They have a little conversation on the way. It's like, I didn't know ladies could be vampires. Because they're talking about them. Because when Angie mentions vampires initially to the guy.
Yeah.
They have a little conversation about it, and they're all like, "Wait, vampires? Like the tall guys who are tall, handsome guys?" And blah blah blah. So they're all excited about it, and then one of them gets vampired.
So Hoff's like, "All right, I'm gonna go distract her. You gonna be ready?" And she's like, "Yes." They don't discuss what she's gonna be ready with. They just do the unspoken plan thing. And so then,
well, to be honest, I think that's basically just saying, Angie, come up with a plan. I'm gonna distract her.
Yeah.
I don't know what the plan is. You know, I'm not gonna be good for any of this. You come up with a plan.
Yeah, because immediately Hoff goes off script. Immediately.
Yeah.
Because his first and only plan is to roll to seduce the vampire. And of course he succeeds. So it's pretty funny. He goes out there and he's just like, "How you doing?" And then they start.
To be fair, she was already.
I know.
Well, also weird. Also another weird part. Just the layout of this particular situation is kind of weird because they're in this room, right? And that's normal enough. But where the vampire lady is she's in this weird dark hallway right outside. With like some weird cylinders.
Yeah.
This police station looking just weirder and weirder. It is straight up a Resident Evil police station. Where I'm surprised they haven't found any like unicorn keys.
It looks
or put puzzle pieces together.
You know the part in Phantom Menace in the lightsaber fight where there's those like laser gates that separate them. Mm-hmm. It looks like that's what the hallway is. Yeah, but all the laser gates are off.
But there's no laser gates. Really. It's just they sanded those off, and then there you go.
Yeah, well they turned them off with the phone service.
Yeah.
Do they have the little puzzle gates where it's just a sculpture that they move around and you shine a light to it, and once it gets the image...
Again, that's what I was.
If you do it wrong, just rats.
That's what I was expecting at this point in time. Because again, just it's straight up Resident Evil police station. Yeah. But anyway,
if they just would have replaced her with zombies, it would have been like the best Resident Evil thing they've made for her.
Yeah, no. Now that you say that, that's actually pretty accurate.
So
anyway, seducing a vampire.
So it's not the seduction; it's the fact that he just full on starts making out with the vampire in front of everybody, and they just look on like bewildered, like the hooker's like, "What?" And then Angie comes over, she's like, "What?" And then it's just like weird porno version of the Baywatch Nights theme playing as they make out for like 20 seconds.
It's also kind of weird because there's a subtle bit of Angie being jealous in there too, which she doesn't believe that that's what's happening.
Yeah, and then the hooker's like, she's like just totally just bewildered by this.
Also, while this was happening, by the way, I'm like, isn't Angie supposed to be doing some sort of plan? Yeah. She's not doing it. No. She's too busy distracted, and nobody else is doing a plan.
No, nobody. Hoff has successfully distracted everyone. But then, the end of his distraction plan
is not good.
It doesn't make any sense because he's like making out with her. And then at just some point, he just grabs her by the hair and like, back off, bad lady.
Yeah. Just like, she's sort of getting in position for the neck bite, and then he's just like, no, pulls her by the hair and drags her away. Yeah, and pisses her off.
And then she like swipes him on the face, and then on the face. And then she does the full on with the cape extended as she like chases him, and he's like running, and they do like a terrible shot where there's just like the cape and stuff over his shoulders. He's running like
Well, she flies for most of her chase stuff too. So there's even a bit where he's like running away and she's like kind of hovering over his shoulder too. So she's all like while he's running away.
And we're in a hardcore like Creepers Peepers turned up to 11 on this.
Yeah.
And So Hoff runs back to this, like, I don't know what this fucking place is supposed to be, supply closet or something, evidence room, I don't know.
Weird room adjacent to what I think was a bathroom.
I don't know.
That they, like...
Well, it's next to the ratatorium.
Yeah, it's next to the ratatorium. Where they keep all their rats.
Yeah. And so Hoff runs through the door, then they close the door, and some point between Hoff walking out there and Hoff making out with the vampire for 20 seconds, they have affixed wooden stakes to the windows of the door, because it has, like, those...
They basically just tied chair legs onto the door.
Or broomsticks or something.
Yeah, something.
Know. But it's got those metal, like, grills over the window, so they just kind of just, like, smushed it through there, really. So Francesca just impales herself on that.
Yeah, because she's, flying after him.
Yeah. And so then she, like, falls down. Creepers Peepers effect as she's dying. And then...
Yeah, she has a little, like, et brute.
Yeah.
Hoff.
And then what sends her off to the afterlife is, like, just rats. She's just covered in rats.
Well, yeah, everybody leaves the room after she stumbles in and collapses.
Yeah, and it's just it's like a full on Dishonored thing where she's just covered in rats. They're like on her face.
She's covered in rats,
and then
she turns photo negative.
And then then does the negative color,
which theoretically means she died. It's not clear.
Yeah,
it really isn't clear because that's it. And she just turns photo negative, and then the camera doesn't look at her anymore.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
she turns into a Spider-Man villain.
I'm assuming the rats thing is the vampire creatures of the night thing. I'm assuming that's what that's about. But everything else is just kind of weird. It's really not clear whether she died. That's the thing that gets me the most. Is because she just sort of falls down and is just sort of lying there, and then she turns photo negative, and there's rats on her.
I mean, that just means she can come back in season 3.
And so then back at the office, Hoff is like going through some mail, and he's like feeling kind of gross, and he like turns off the lights, and he like lays down, and Angie comes in, and he's like, I'm just sore from getting my shit fucked up this whole time. And she like offers to make him coffee. He's like, no. And he complains about how bright it is, even though like lights are off.
Yeah. The lights are off, the shades are drawn.
Yeah. And so Andy's like, Angie, did she nick me? And he like pulls his shirt open. She like leans over to look, and then he puts in like shitty Halloween teeth. And he's like, I want to suck your blood, doing like just as bad as Francesca did.
Yeah, he does a little jump scare on her.
Yeah. And then
she immediately grabs a take it to his heart.
God, that'd be great.
No.
That would be the best ending to the series.
It would be very funny.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he...
And we zoom out, in the back of Nights is the temple and Aztec gods.
Right, yeah, there's a bunch of trucks and vans.
Yeah, and then just a 30-minute Selma Hayek dancing scene.
A lot of focus on her feet.
No, Baywatch Nights wouldn't focus on her feet.
Baywatch Nights wouldn't, but...
No, they'd focus on her tits.
Baywatch Nights wouldn't, but they would... But, what is it?
So,
Tarantino.
No,
Tarantino would show up and make them focus on her feet.
Because in the Tarantino version, it's like, okay, there's like a minute scene. But in the Baywatch Nights one, it would be a 7-minute scene, and there'd be a dude in a pig mask playing saxophone over in the corner.
The Baywatch Nights, yeah. That is what the Baywatch Nights version would be.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean, would they get the saxophone player from Lost Boys? Or...
I mean, they could. That's a coin flip at that point. But yeah, there you go. That's that. There's that episode.
All right.
He does a little.
Yeah, and she's like, "That's not funny." He's like, "It is funny. These teeth cost me $2. It's very funny."
I mean, he's not wrong. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, this episode started a little slow, and then went passion nutters, and it didn't stop.
No, this is as much as I was waiting for the vampire episode because there was gonna be a vampire episode.
Oh man.
It was very much what you want out of Baywatch Nights, especially season 2.
Yeah, it so was. Oh man.
So what? You gonna call this a 7?
Oh, no.
I think this is definitely in competition with the Species episode.
I feel like this is better than the Species episode.
I feel so too.
Just because it's just like it just didn't stop being ridiculous.
No, it is exactly as silly as you want the episode to be.
It's like it's like if you took the Blair Witch Project, put it in an abandoned police station with the Count from Sesame Street as the bad guy.
Well, I should also say, I mean, this is a scale of Baywatch Nights. Do you think we're gonna find a better episode?
That's what
that's
I'm
the question.
Skeptical on it.
I don't know how they're going to top it.
Yeah,
because it's exactly as silly as you want Baywatch Nights episode.
Yeah.
To be.
So
it doesn't have as much stupidity as a lot of the other episodes do.
So I think you're pretty safe calling it something like a 9.
Because we have the cabin at 8.69.
Mm-hmm.
And this is up there. I definitely think it's at least a little bit above the cabin. They're both good.
Is the cabin the high one?
No, the cabin's the one with the cabin.
But no, is that the highest one?
Yeah, that's the highest one.
Yeah, no. I feel around the 9 is pretty good. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not 100% sure on the point on the decimal scale there, but
I mean, there's nothing else over there. You can call it a 9.
I think we're probably safe calling it a 9.
If you could put 2 1s for the fangs.
Yeah.
And then it would be 9.11, and you'd never forget.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
God.
Yeah, 9/11. Good.
Arr.
There you go. 2 fangs like 2 towers.
Yep.
Yeah, and apparently it was an inside job.
Right into
Well, what was it? Was inside the police station.
It was inside the police station and also inside the person's chest because that's where the blood is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where the heart go, Marty.
Yeah.
And there's dirty foreigners who did it. That's another thing that I forgot to mention. When the cops are talking about the murder, they're talking to them about the murder in the park. He just starts talking. He's like, there's all these gangs and illegals. It's just so weird sounding. It's like illegals.
I mean, I don't know. He's just saying that it's been violent in the park recently, right? Wasn't that what he was saying? I didn't remember that.
It was just the way he phrased it, where it's like,
I guess.
So, the next episode. Let me just finish clicking that in. So the next episode, this one's gonna be a hard one to not guess. This is basically what it says on the tin of the episode.
Is it is the name of the episode Werewolves Ahoy or something? Or...
So this next episode is titled Space Spore. So what do you think Space Spore is gonna be about?
I suspect there might be a spore from space. Well. Since there's no points for guessing that, and I really doubt they're going to do vampires again. I really doubt it's going to be a vampire space spore. It could be a blood-sucking space spore, but
or a space spore that turns people into vampires. Maybe it's the origin story of the vampire, the prequels. Yeah.
I suppose the question is...
The Phantom Space Spore.
I suppose the actual question is what is the nature of the space spore? That's the actual question.
Are they just flat myconids, or is it just kind of a virusy thing? I'm
gonna assume that it's that is gonna be some sort of virusy thing. Probably, I'm gonna guess that it's a Invasion of the Body Snatchers style thing, where they like either mind control people or like doppelganger them or something.
I'm gonna go with a Jogan screaming myconids.
So they just screaming fungus people.
Shriekers.
Yeah.
You just think the whole episode is it?
I mean, no, I'm not. That's as valid as my guess. So.
And here's the thing: I have no idea which one is correct.
Yeah.
Because it just says radioactive dust from a space shuttle is accidentally dropped into a farmer's field.
Okay, so the spores themselves aren't from space. I'm guessing is that the radioactive dust.
Well, I think they did. I think the spores are from space, and
Actually,
they're
yeah,
just radioactive.
Space radiation.
Oh, either that or the space radiation, special space radiation, and it makes the spore and it makes the earthbound spores weird. I don't know.
No, well, I think the radioactive dust is the spores from space.
That makes sense. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know, man. This is Baywatch Nights. Anything's up for. They don't have to make any sense.
You know, it's just a can of cream of mushroom soup went up in the space station, got Fantastic Forward, and came back down.
All I can think of is the creep show part with Stephen King with the meteorite.
But yeah, it's gonna. I think it's gonna.
I forget the name of that short sketch thing or whatever.
It's gonna be real hard for it to catch this one, especially with the cape spreading attack. Every time she did it like 4 times.
It was a move. She had to do it to fly at people.
Give them Creepers Peepers. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be tough to beat.